Hello, fellow captains. I am in Star Trek Online today, and I am going to be undertaking what could be called an enterprising journey. That is a very fitting name for what I will be doing in the game. This will be a series of videos that I am making in Star Trek Online. This is part one of that series. I don't know how many parts there will be to this, but this is the start of it. So welcome everyone. My name is Brent Justice. Welcome to my gaming channel. I do a lot of videos, gameplays, different games. One of them I do is Star Trek Online, and I am going to be doing something in Star Trek Online that I have not done, surprisingly. Been playing this game since 2009 and have yet to do this specific thing that I am going to be doing in the game. And that is, of course, obtaining, flying, and having on a character every Enterprise. That's right, NX-01, 1701, 1701A, 1701B, 1701C, 1701D, 1701E, 1701F, 1701G, 1701J. That's right, we're doing them all. I'm going to have on this character, Ensign Ricky, every Enterprise variant that I can get a hold of. Now, there are some variants that I am not going to be able to obtain. They're very hard. Either you need lock boxes or T6 promotional things to get those specialized ships. So there are some that I'm not going to have access to. They're just going to be too hard to get. But what I can obtain, I am going to obtain. Now, I had originally thought I would love to have an Enterprise on a character, each character. So there would be like a character that did 1701A, a character that did the B, and then the C, and then the D, and so forth. However, yeah, that's going to be a little too much to roll that many characters from start to finish and have enough resources and all of that built up to actually be able to purchase the ships on separate characters would be too much of an undertaking for even me. So what I have decided to do instead is to take one character right here, Ensign Ricky, who is my main character that I have used for doing the Let's Play of this game on my channel. I've got lots of videos centered around Ensign Ricky. I figured he would be the best candidate to do this endeavor where I have all of the Enterprises on this one character. And then in that way, I can utilize the system loadout that it has available to set up my traits and bridge officer seating and so forth to simply load the ship, make it active, and then load the loadout. That's the goal. That's the idea. That way I can fly any of those iconic ships as I choose. So that's what this series is going to be about. Now, I am in a very beta stage of that series. I do not have all the ships yet on this character. So this will be a progressing series where I will make many videos as I update and go through this process. Right now, I have several ships with some light gear on them just to demonstrate kind of where my head is and where I'm going down in this path, and so that you can follow along in this series with me and see my progression as I build this up. My intention is to show you the ships, switch into those ships, show you the loadouts, and then demonstrate those ships in some kind of combat. So I will do probably a patrol and demonstrate each ship as it is now. And then as I progress in the series and get better gear and better equipped and better bridge officer powers and so forth, then I will be able to demonstrate those even better and show all that off. So that's kind of my plan. And I'm just kind of winging this as I go. I don't have like a specific plan for how this is going to go. But I've just kind of thought through that I will talk about the ships, and then I will equip the ships, and then I will show you some combat in the ships. And in addition to all that, I am also trying to obtain all the unique consoles that go with that particular ship or theme. So keep in mind that this is a theme build. The whole nature of what this is not that I am putting the absolute best build I could put on these ships, because there are many reputation sets and other things that would be better suited for these ships. Instead, what I'm doing is a thematic, quote, canon, as close as canon as I can get, build to these ships. So it is a thematic build. That means phaser appropriate things. For example, 1701 has the blue phasers. 1701B has the pulse phasers. The C and D have the yellow phasers. So I'm keeping it, that way. And then the E, it's going to have quantum torpedoes. So I'm kind of keeping it thematic in that way to what the ships would have in the TV series or the movies. What you saw on screen, I am trying to replicate here. So that means they're all going to be phaser energy based. I'm not going to be using like anti-protons or plasma or something crazy like that. These are all going to be Starfleet, Federation, phaser builds that are thematic with the ships. That's my path. That's what I'm going down, and I'm just doing this for fun. Whole point of this is for fun. I've been playing Star Trek Online for a long time, and I've never done anything like this, and I thought, let's have some fun, and I thought, let's bring you guys along with me on this journey. So won't that be fun? Okay, so with all of that said, this is the character I'm doing it on, Ensign Ricky. He is an engineer. He is maxed out. He has max everything. Reputation, diplomacy, all of that. So this is the best character for me to use. He's also in a fleet and has access to all fleet gear, and a lot of my builds will be focused around that fleet gear. Fleet gear all the way, because that's pretty much fitting. That starbase fleet gear is fitting to the theme of these ships. Okay, with all of that said, I am now going to go to the ship selector and show you all the ships that I currently have on this character, and obviously where I'm going to go from there forward. Then I will switch into each ship, starting with the 1701 classic 1701 TOS ship, do some combat, and then go down and down and down the ships. There are chapters below in this video. You're welcome to skip through to the ships you want to watch. I will make chapters for each one. But first, let's go to the ship loadout here in the shipyard, and I will show you the line of ships that I currently have set up and the unique naming that I have selected for these ships, or maybe not so unique, as you're about to see. So manage ships as we do. Here's my ships. Okay, so you can see quite clearly the path that I'm going down here. 1701 Temporal Light Cruiser Tier 6. 1701A. Now this is based on the Shangri-La command warship, which I do have the 1701A refit, skin on this one. So it is the only way that I could pretty much get that look for the 1701A, but also have a separate 1701 ship. And I didn't want the 1701 to be so overpowered. So we'll use the Shangri-La for the 1701A, but we'll talk more about these each specifically when I talk about them. 1701B, I'm using the Fleet Advanced Heavy Cruiser. I am actually trying to use more fleet variants of the ships if possible. That just seems more fitting. There is no fleet version of the A or the 1701, so can't do that. 1701C is the Fleet Support Cruiser. 1701D, Fleet Exploration Cruiser. 1701E, Fleet Command Assault Cruiser. And that's all that I have right now on this character. So continuing from there will be the F, the Odyssey. I will be getting that somehow. I believe that's a little bit harder for me to obtain on this character. There's not a fleet version of it, not a fleet tier 6 version of it. There actually is a fleet tier 5 version, but not a tier 6 version, and I want tier 6. Now I do have a Terran version of that. I have the Terran Lexington, but while it is based on the Odyssey, it's the Terran version, and I don't really want to make that my mainstay Odyssey, so I'm probably going to try to obtain the Zen Store version, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. There's actually 3 versions of the Zen Store, but I'm probably going to go for that. Then of course you got the G, but I believe that's only a lockbox, so that's going to be near impossible for me to get. And then the J, that's also one of those like promotional ships, which is also going to be very hard for me to obtain. Now I do have the J on a different character, so interesting that I have it on that character. I actually wish I had had it on this character, but I put it on my other engineering character, and so I do have a J. I just don't have it on this character where I want it, so I'd have to obtain another one. So there's two tough ships there that are going to be hard for me, and that's the G or the Titan. I guess I need to figure out how best to obtain that one, and then the J. That's going to probably be the hardest. The Odyssey is going to take me a lot of Zen, but right now this is just part one of the video, so this is where I'm at. Keep in mind on these builds also, this is not finalized. These are beta states of my builds. So a lot of the gear is not even maxed out at max level. It's like Mark 12 gear. Some of it I've upgraded to 15, but some of it is not. My goal is to eventually get all of the gear loadouts to be, Mark 15 epic level. I'm just not there yet on these ships like this one here, and many of these others. We'll go through each one, but just keep in mind the gear is not maxed out yet. My plan is to get there. That's going to take a lot of resources. My other thing is that the bridge officer powers and seating is not finalized, very beta. I just threw stuff on so I could use these ships and level up the masteries. And that's the other thing. I am going to be using the final tier 5 mastery on each of these ships. So each ship is going to have its unique mastery applied to it. And that means if there was a Zen store version of that ship, then I also need to get that ship so that I can unlock the mastery to put it on the fleet version. So I do want the complete mastery unlocks. I do want the special mastery that it comes with. And then I also want any unique consoles. For example, the 1701 has the Corbomite the Corbomite maneuver. And so that is the unique console that comes with this ship, so it's on this ship. And I'm going to go through each one, but they all have their unique console fitting to that ship. I also have on this one the M6 computer. This is from a different ship, but it's fitting for the theme of this ship because of the TOS era and 1701, TOS era of the ship. The M6 computer console makes sense to put it on this ship. And so things like that I will put on it to keep kind of era specific to the ship, but that's the idea, or what you've seen on the TV screen or TV show. So yeah, so that's a lot. That's where I'm at right now. That's the current configuration. Now I think it's time to break this apart in this video, and I am going to go through each of the ships. I'm going to show you the builds that I've currently got on each ship. I'm going to load them, and I'm going to go into combat and kind of demonstrate the masteries and the consoles, and just kind of give you a preview of how I'm working through these ships. So I hope that you will enjoy that ride along with me. So let's get started. Okay, let's take a look at the NCC 1701. So I'll bring up the ship menus here, and we have USS NCC 1701. So this is the original TOS starship. This is a Temporal light cruiser, Tier 6. So yes, I did get the Tier 6 version of the ship, and it is fully decked out. It comes with a full mastery here, and I have all of them unlocked at this current stage. The Built to Last. Hull healing, buff abilities, grants plus regen, minus weapon power cost. Plus 30% hull regeneration for 20 seconds, increases as hull HP decreases, and minus 33% weapon power cost for 20 seconds. So this is Built to Last. That is the mastery, and if I go to traits here, you will see Built to Last is enabled. While this trait is slotted, activating a hull healing bridge officer ability will apply this buff. So I need to use a hull healing bridge officer ability to enable Built to Last, but that is what is set. Now I have other traits on here, and all of these traits are going to be common for all of the starships that I fly on this character, all of the enterprises. But just real briefly, I've got, we'll just go through them real briefly here. Dimensional modulation, activating directed energy modulation or miracle worker will grant you amount of bonus weapon damage. I have improved critical systems, so that's critical chance and critical severity increase chance. And then I have superior predictive algorithms is accuracy buff, and then torpedo performance enhanced by all energy weapons. On activation of energy weapons, 1 stack of weapon system synergy, which is projectile weapons gain 25% bonus projectile weapon damage. I might change this one out in the future and do something different, but that's currently what I have. If I unlock these ships further, the TX6 and X2 versions, then obviously I can unlock more traits and enable them. I have a ton of traits available to me, so I do want to put more on there, but it just depends on, you know, what I am able to unlock there if I further unlock the ships, which I want to do. Also under here, I've got plus 20% critical severity. I have auxiliary and defensive buff, offensive and defensive from that trait. I've got armor penetration and bonus weapon damage. So that's what I got going on there for the space reputation stuff. But let's look over the specs on this. So what I am using is the Advanced Fleet Single Phaser Beam Array. These are the blue ones you get from K13, I believe. Then the Twin Phaser Beam Array as well. So two of the regular single. Now there's no difference between the twin or the single phaser. It's a visual difference only. This one just looks like a twin beam, which is what you see in the TV show. And this just looks like a single beam, but they're both still blue. But it's not a dual beam. Even though it's a twin beam, it's not a dual beam. However, I do have a dual beam bank on there. I have the regular TOS photon torpedo launcher. So this is the standard white looking one, thematic to the ship. I have one in the rear, one in the forward. I have just two regular fleet single phaser beams here as well, so all blue, so the weapons match what is seen in the TV show. As for the rest of it, I am using the Elite Fleet Deflector Array with a bunch of stats there. I am using the Elite Fleet Adaptive Covariant Shield. I am using the Elite Fleet Reinforced Warp Core and the Elite Fleet Efficient Impulse Engine there with a turn times 2, sector speed, and speed increase on that. Eventually I will get all of these leveled up. That's what I've got on these right now. I'm not going to go over like all the little details on these things, but you're welcome to pause the video and read these stats if you want to see what all of these stats do. But what I do want to focus on are the consoles that come with these ships, because that's what makes them unique. So with this one, it's the Corbomite remover. I did it again. Corbomite maneuver. So this one just flat out gives you a plus 20% all damage by having it on the ship. And we can see here it's a PBAOE Fear, Placate, minus damage resistance, minus defense, minus shield hardness. Foe, current engine power, so it sets their engine power up. They are unable to attack you, kind of pushes them away actually. And it sets their other power levels down, gives them a plus 50 flight speed, but a minus flight turn rate and damage resistance, and decreases their shield resistance. So that's an interesting thing there, and I'll show that to you in combat. Another thing I have here is the M6 computer. This is from a different ship, but it is fitting to this ship because, well, it's the M6 computer. So this is an activatable ability. It will give you plus 15% bonus all damage for 15 seconds, plus 25% cooldown reduction on tactical bridge officer abilities, 20% firing cycle haste for all weapons for 15 seconds, plus 30 accuracy, and plus 30 defense. So a very good ability on a ship like this. I enjoy that one quite a bit. So those are the two abilities there that kind of tie in with this ship's theme here. Other things that are going to be common across all of the ships is I'm going to use the Temporal Disentanglement Suite, because that improves shield capacity and critical chance and critical severity. So I do want to get the critical severity and critical chance up as high as I can on these ships, so that really helps with that. And then the other one I'm going to have on all the ships across this is the Quantum Phase Converter, and the reason why is extra phaser damage there. 26.3% phaser damage. So that allows me to use all of my tactical consoles to boost phaser damage, and then have even more phaser damage in the science console slot by using that one. So that just gives me the most phaser damage I can get on these ships. And again, eventually I will get everything maxed out, but this ship has a lot of the stuff maxed out because it's stuck gear I already had. The other ships are going to be less and less of that because they're not updated. So now that I have shown you the Temporal Light Cruiser, let's go into space real quick. and I will show you some of the powers there in space, and then we'll go into combat real quick, and I will show you what the ship is like in combat. Now, one problem I do have, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Actually, I'll talk about it at the end. Okay, so here we are in space. And we have our 1701 classic TOS starship. As you can see, looks very nice. Very classic. I just love the looks of it. I mean, you can't beat that. This one in the A, I mean, it's an impressive design. I think the A is probably my favorite. I think it's a lot of people's favorites, but the refit. But this one is nice too. This one is good. Very classic. I mean, look at that. So slick looking right there. It's got a really good profile. It's got a balanced profile. I think that's what a lot of ships are missing today, is the balanced profile. It looks balanced. Anyway, here we go. Here's the ship. So here are the powers. This is the Corbomite maneuver. This is the one that it comes with. So I'm going to use that in combat, so I don't want to spend it right now, but we'll use it in combat, and I'll show you that. Here is the advanced tactical computer, the M6 computer, and what it does. So again, Corbomite and all the things it does, and then the M6 computer and everything it does. So I will use those in combat, and we'll see those in action. Otherwise, everything else is just based on bridge officer powers, and however, you know, I'm going to configure the ship. My bridge officer powers are not finalized on the ship, very, very beta right now, but I will just show you the stations that I have. Emergency power to shields 3, reverse shield polarity, emergency power to shields 1. Yeah, I've got redundant things going on here that I don't need to do. So that's not even correct. Why? It's changed. Why is it? It's changed my abilities. So already, this is one of the problems I was going to bring up, but the loadouts thing is dumb, and it keeps forgetting my abilities. I'm afraid to touch it right now because I'm afraid it's going to erase things. Yeah, so my abilities are not set. My abilities are not finalized. These are not at all the abilities I want to use on this ship. So don't even pay attention to that right now. Like I said, this is part 1 of a series, and I have a lot of work to do on the bridge officer powers and stations and all of that. So that's going to come later. But the idea is I will set it all, traits, everything included, and then when I go to loadouts, I load the loadout, like I've named it 1701. I will load that loadout, and then boom, everything will be in place. My hotbar, all my buttons will be in place, all my bridge officer powers, all my traits. However, I do keep having a problem where it forgets those things. Even after saving them several times on ground in space, doesn't matter, it always forgets them. So that's been a real big problem, is the loadout system. It is very, very buggy in this game. It's a complete disaster, to be honest with you. And I want to talk about it more at the end. But before we get into that, because I got a lot of ships to go through here in this video, I think we're going to go through to the sea. I think that's where I'm going to stop today, is with the sea. All right, so let's go into combat, and I will show you this. I think for my combat runs today, the one I'm going to use, actually, let's do, I'm all over the place here. Let's do Kinger system. That's a good one to build your mastery. If you ever want to build your mastery on your ship, grind the 9th rule, Kinger system. That's a good patrol to grind. But let's do that. Let's show this ship off in combat. Now, right now, it's not as powerful as it could be and all that. I get it. But it's a demonstration right now, and that's pretty much
Looks like there was a fight here.
Good off.
Sorry.
The Carter is ready to assist you.
And you can see how the weapons look.
Lead the way, and the Shurgat will follow.
But I
Reading
think
a single
ship
Ferengi
looks
vessel,
beautiful.
Marauder class. They've decloaked.
These Gorn must be desperate if they're working for a Ferengi.
Okay, I'll do the Corbomite maneuver, and you'll see how it kind of like... kind of hard to tell on that one. I might need to focus in a little bit more. But check out those weapons there. Classic toss sound. Blue. Brilliant.
Doesn't concern you. Find something better to do somewhere else.
Here goes the M6 computer. And check out the photon torpedoes. classic white. Beautiful. Beautiful ship.
Well, there's the front.
You
There will be no dealing. He wants us all. No!
So using the hull healing, you can see the starship trait being activated there.
This deal gets worse by the minute.
Green diplomacy at its finest.
Target shields have failed. Target shields have failed.
So as you can see, just a beautiful, beautiful design. Corbomite I keep doing that. Corbomite maneuver is ready, so we'll try it on these ships coming up over here.
The Birmingham is...
So if we'll wait for the capital ship. We'll do it on the capital ship.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Just walk away, and there will be an
Target
end.
shields have failed.
Walk away.
All those tractor beams are driving me crazy.
Target shields have failed.
Ship is really maneuverable, by the way. Yikes. I'm being pounded here. So we'll do it on this one. Oh, there's the Corbomite maneuver. Kind of hard to see what it's doing, really. Oh crap, I'm about to die. I was concentrating too much. Yikes. That's a lot of ships.
They're down to a few ships. Keep up the pressure.
Nice. So there you go, the Enterprise 1701 in action. And I just realized I forgot to show you all
Well
the
fought. Well
the
marked.
stats on it. So we'll do that when we get back to the Sol system here. Show you the stats on it. Also, I realized that wasn't a great demonstration of the Corbomite maneuver, so I might try that out again for you guys so we can kind of isolate, not that exact patrol, but something a little easier so I can just demonstrate what that ability does. But let's look at the stats here, letting all of my abilities, everything calm down. All right, so let's look at the stats. So I am sitting at 123,298 on the hull, 25,657 on the shields. My resists are in the mid to high 40s, and my critical chance is 26.9%. Critical severity is 141.4. So hull strength is not bad for being you know, this level of ship, but it's a cruiser, and it's actually a light cruiser, but I have it buffed pretty well. And let's see, so those are the stats. My turn rate is 27.5 degrees a second. My flight speed is 38.68, and that is one thing I want to mention. This ship is really maneuverable. For being a cruiser, I guess it's a light cruiser, but I can maneuver pretty well in this ship, so that's really nice to see. And the other ones are not as maneuverable, so this one is the most maneuverable out of the other ones. I think that I would like to go ahead and do just a quick light patrol so that I can demonstrate the Corbomite maneuver for you, so you can just kind of see it. Basically, all you're going to see is that it pushes the ship away. But I want to do that just so you can see it. Let's do something. Let's just do something like real simple and easy. Okay, I am in the Karaya system, and I'm just going to do something really quick and easy here. Just go in and out to show you how the Corbomite maneuver works. For this, you do need to be rather close to the enemy, so we're just going to come up on them right here. You see that little exclamation point there? That's pretty much it. Lets you know that it's working, and you're done. But that's pretty much it. That's how that works. I do notice that it pushes the enemy away really fast sometimes. Sometimes it does not. If they're a smaller ship, it will. If it's a bigger ship, not so much. But smaller ships, it'll like send them off at a increased flight speed. So that's interesting. That's kind of how that works. I haven't found it to be an extremely useful ability. I do prefer the advanced tactical computer over it, to be honest with you. But it is there, it's part of the ship, and I've got it, and that's what makes the ship unique. And so I have the trait, the M6 computer, and the Corbomite maneuver all enabled on this ship. So that's the 1701. Let's go to the B. All right, now let's take a look at the NCC 1701A. That's right, this is the refit ship, the A. Let's take a look at it. For this one, I am using the Shangri-La. Now, in order to do this switch, I wanted to show how I will go about switching between the ships. So I currently just did the 1701 TOS light cruiser. I will go to manage ships. The idea is I'll be able to do this easily by just going here, going to 1701A, doing ready starship. Nothing will have to be saved between them because all of the gear will already be on them and ready to go. So I'm done now. I'm in the A. Now the problem with this is a lot of the times it does not remember my loadout. So how do you fix that? Well, you use the loadout system where I have 1701A. However, I notice this happens a lot where it says unsaved changes, even though I haven't made any changes, but yet they're unsaved changes. Well, why is that? I don't know. And sometimes when I click it, it reverts back to previous loadouts I've had, which is annoying because I have to keep correcting things. So, and look, one of my traits is already gone, disappeared for no reason. This happens a lot with the loadout system. It is buggy as all get out. So if I go here now and click this, what's going to happen? Okay, so far my gear is all there, so that's good. Sometimes it will, nope, still says unsaved changes. Now if I go to traits, okay, that's still, it wants to keep forgetting accurate. I don't know why. Is my proper trait there? Is that it? Clear for action? I think so. Yeah, that is the trait. Okay, I'll go back and save it again, but I'm telling you that's going to happen again. Where I'll come back to the ship and it will be, it'll disappear. That trait will just, some of these traits will just be gone. All right, well anyway, that's the idea of how this is supposed to work. It does not always work that way. All right, so now that this ship is enabled, the ship that I will be flying for the A is the Shangri-La Command Warship T6, using, of course, the skin for the 1701A. And as you can see, it'll have the classic look there. The trait that this comes with is called Clear for Action, plus firing cycle rate when activating evasive maneuvers. So a 25% firing cycle haste when I'm using evasive maneuvers. That's the trait. I have it all unlocked. It is enabled on this ship. The unique console that this ship comes with is this one here, and it is called the Sequential Warhead Loader. So having this on the ship gives you a plus 42.75 starship projectile shield penetration, improved shield penetration for projectile weapons. 3 times torpedoes, disables shield AoE kinetic damage, 90-degree arc to foes. First hit of this salvo is a shield subsystem offline for 10 seconds. The second hit is 13, or we'll see the actual damage in space, but it does kinetic damage to the main target. And then the third hit is more kinetic damage to up to 10 foes within a 2.5 kilometer radius. So this is like a 3-tiered firing system. It's actually really cool, and I like it, and I do use it a lot with this ship. So I will demonstrate that in action. That is a pretty unique console. Now, in order to make this ship thematic with the build and overall theme of the ship, I have to use pulse phasers, because pulse phasers, I think I know what happened. It removed one of my pulse phasers. That's what happened. See, I knew something was missing there. I had already, this is what's dumb, I had already, before this video, put that there and saved the new loadout. And then, well, when I switched to the ship just now, you saw it, that weapon wasn't there anymore. It removed it. Why? I don't know, but it's frustrating. I'm getting off track because I'm actually a little angry at how that works, or not works, I should say. All right, so in order to keep thematic with the 1701A, I have to use the pulse phasers. Well, thankfully, the Shangri-La comes with pulse phasers. Now, these are standard issue infinite, so they level with the character. However, they are not upgradable. These weapons cannot be upgraded, so I am only stuck with this quality of pulse phaser. The only way I can get better quality pulse phasers or upgradable pulse phasers is to either purchase them off the exchange or use the lock. Is it a lockbox or so? Yeah, I think the Infinity lockbox or something has like a weapon choice that you can select from. And I think that's the only way to get the pulse phasers. So I'm kind of stuck with these right now because I cannot afford to buy them off the exchange or get them in boxes or anything. So all I have is what I have. The ship thankfully came with the pulse phasers, so it's thematic to the ship, but they're just not upgradable. So that sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it right now. What I was able to purchase, though, was a dual pulse phaser, so that I could at least have one of those that are upgradable, and I put that on the ship so I can have a mostly phaser build up front. I also have the standard fleet photon torpedoes, front and back. And then continuing with the theme, I've got the Elite Fleet Adaptive Shield, I have the Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp Core, the Elite Fleet Efficient Impulse Engine. These are basically the same as the previous ship I just showed you. But what is a little bit different is this one here, the Elite Fleet Preservation Protomatter Deflector. This is from the colony, the fleet colony. Now, I am rationalizing using this deflector rather than the fleet ones because, well, it's just better. There's also no visual change, so it doesn't visually change the ship. But the reason why is this one is very fitting to what I want the ship to do. It increases hull capacity, shield capacity, impulse expertise, EPS systems, drain expertise, but more importantly, look at that bottom there. Critical severity and critical chance based on hull percentage. So this deflector increases severity and chance, and I want those criticals improved as much as I can on these cruisers because they're already going to be very good at taking hits. I want to improve that critical chance and severity on them, and so I have gone that route. I may do that on the 1701 as well, but I haven't done it yet. But for this one and the next one, the A, B, and C, I did do that. So that is what I'm going to use. So yeah, I'm using one piece of gear that's not fleet gear, not Starfleet gear. It's, Lucari gear, technically from the colony fleet, but I'm going to let that pass. I'm going to let it pass because I'd rather have that increased severity and chance for a critical. Otherwise, I've got the other things I have on all the other ships. I've got the disentanglement suite for more critical chance and severity, and shield. And then I have the quantum phase converter for more phaser damage, because obviously I've got all phaser damage buffed as well. So that's kind of the build. This, again, this is beta. This isn't finalized. I have room here for something else. I don't know what I'm going to put here, but I'm going to put something else there. So maybe armor penetration or something like that. I don't know. But that's what I kind of have for this. That kind of fits the theme. It works. It works on this. Again, I had to use the Shangri-La in order to get the A look and be able to have two separate ships. See, my goal was, I didn't want, because the Shangri-La can also use the 1701 skin, but I didn't want one ship that was, you know, both, because then it would just be identical. There would be no differences. I wanted two different ships, 1701 TOS ship, and then 1701A refit ship. I wanted two separate ships. So using the Shangri-La allows me to have those two separate ships. So that's what I'm flying for this. Whew. Now, as for the stations, as I mentioned in the previous part, these are not finalized either. However, I am using some cool stuff. Focused Assault 3. This one is more finalized, I would say, than the 1701 build was. Structural integrity collapse. I don't know. It works for right now. Will this change in the future? Most likely, but it works for right now. It gets the job done. So that's where we're sitting. Here's that clear for action trait enabled, 1701A. Let's go into space and take a look at it. Okay, I am in space now with the 1701A, and already I can tell you it's forgotten one of my hotbar buttons. So this happens again. Loadouts, yes. Look, unsaved changes. Even though you guys saw me, I saved it on the ground. Unsaved again. It keeps changing my stuff. Even if I save the loadout, it doesn't work. So I'm going to go to my hotbar. I always like to have the shield redistribution over there. So there it is again, which I had already had set up. I'm going to save it again, 1701A loadout. But I'm telling you, it will forget it. All right, so here we go. This is the 1701A, basically the Shangri-La, but I love this ship. I think this is probably the best looking ship in Star Trek. I mean, it's up there, right? It's just the profile, it's balanced. There's something about it. It is so balanced. That is such a balanced design. It's good. That is a good design. But yeah, there you go. 1701A, classic look. Can't beat that. And it turns pretty well too. So it's the B and the C that turn a little slow. The C is the worst, but this one turns pretty well. Actually very maneuverable for what it is. I guess it's the Shangri-La, so maybe it's a little bit better than what it normally would be, but it's pretty good. Pretty good maneuverability on that thing. Yeah, I can turn around on a dime, so that's real good. So here's all of the abilities. We have the console, loaded for bear, a 3x torpedo, disable shield, AoE, and kinetic damage ability. So there's the actual damage now I'm doing in space. 25,496 kinetic damage to the main target. And then on the third hit, 21,246 kinetic damage to up to 10 foes within 2.5 kilometers. So that's the damage that I'm doing with that console. Let's look at the specs real quick. So on this one, interestingly, my hull is not as high on this one as the previous ship. 99,660 hull on this one. The 1701 light cruiser T6 Constitution had a 123,000 hull. So this has a lower hull, but also I don't have all of my consoles maxed out. So this increases hull capacity and this increases shield capacity. So these are not maxed out, whereas I think they were on the other ships. So that will increase, and also all of my other things. Also my deflector will increase my hull capacity. So once I upgrade all these things to Mark 15 Epic, then that hull will be a lot better. But right now, that's where it's at. It's a little under where I would want it, but again, not upgraded, so just a beta build. 14,000 on shields. My shields are a lot lower than the last ship as well. And then my resist are also lower in the upper 30s here for the resist. Now my crit chance is higher, 33% crit chance. Crit severity is at 168%, so really high on this ship. 30.3 degrees a second turn rate. Flight speed is 34.18. So that's where I'm sitting on the specs for this ship. Remember, in order to see the clear for action, we need to use evasive maneuvers. And then I will show the console loaded for bear in combat. And you can see the arc on that pretty wide there. So I am ready to go into combat and just kind of show this ship off to you. So let's do that. I am going to go to patrols, and we're going to do the same thing I did in the last section. We're going to do the Kinger system. So let's go. Hopefully all my traits and everything will follow me into this one. Sometimes they don't. I always double check before going into combat. Okay.
Looks like
Take.
So let me
The
double check
cargo
that
is
everything
ready to assist you.
is here. Traits are all in place.
Lead the way, and the Shurgat will follow.
Okay, I'm good to go.
Reading a single Ferengi vessel.
Let me make
Marauder
sure
class.
everything
Safety
is...
cloaked.
Yeah, everything is on. All of my weapons are on automatic. Okay, let's go into combat.
Leave enough of their ships for salvage. I'll be under cloak.
Orions and Ferengi working together? Yeah, this will let it go.
That's a nice spread right there. I love that. Look at those pulse phasers go. Beautiful.
Typical Ferengi, leaving
Beautiful.
the dirty work for us.
Beautiful work. Beautiful work.
Added
on
to
that.
his bill.
All right, let's use the well, there's the maneuver thing, but let's use the okay, there goes the first volley. I think I missed the second and third volley. All right, we'll try that again. I did not hit that real well there. Oh. Kind of wasted that ability there. We will do it again. Sorry about that. Messed up that.
Well, there's good.
I'm doing a
bad-
lot
the
of
Ferengi-
damage, and I'm really killing. Oh yeah, and I got the from the movie. I've got the shield overload thing, which is from the movie, right? The graphics from the movie on the display. Remember that? That's awesome. So yeah, that's thematic as well. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of damage with this ship, so I killed him a little too fast there to use the ability I wanted to use. But on the big ships, we'll use it on the last volley.
Treacherous.
Ship is under
This deal gets worse by the minute.
I won't tell the Gorn we have the spores if you don't.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh, you're not redone yet. Let's
The
wait.
nerve of some. No,
I'm gonna tractor him, but I am going to wait for that to cool down because I want to use it.
the last episode.
I actually
of
do think it's a
Captain
cool
Proton.
ability. I
It's
like it a lot.
yours.
I think it's better than the Corbomite maneuver, anyway. So instead of using any of my abilities here, let's just use this one straight up first.
warning. Ship is under
Okay,
attack.
there they go. There's the 3 volleys. Now you can see it. I won't even fire. I'll let them.
Shields have failed.
So there you go. That's what it does. It killed him. It killed him without me even firing on him.
Target shields have failed.
Honestly, it's a thing of beauty.
Rear shields failing. Right shields failing. Left shields failing. 4 shields failing. Target shields have failed.
that ability again. I do also have the other abilities that the ship has too. I didn't even tell you about those. This ship has Turn the Tide, Team Resistance, and okay, yeah, go away. This has Turn the Tide, Team Resistance, and whole regen buff, affects friends and self. All of that there. You also have the Against All Odds, Team Damage buff, and Weapon Power Cost buff. Bonus all damage. So I like this one, Against All Odds. There we go. That's what it looks like. So that ability there, Against All Odds, but it affects yourself and your team. But yeah, so those abilities there with this ship. So that's just extra stuff that the ship has that I love. So basically, this is a very powerful ship, as you can see. Very powerful ship. The Shangri-La, though, so I mean, probably a little overpowered for what the 1701A would be, you know, in the movie. It's overpowered in that sense, but a lot of really cool abilities for sure. And those pulse phasers are extremely exciting. I love those. They're extremely exciting. So that's the 1701A Shangri-La for this one, but again, was necessary to use the Shangri-La so that I could have a 1701, you know, Constitution Light Cruiser Tier 6 and a separate Tier 6 1701A variant as well. In order to have the two separate ships, I had to have, well, two separate ships. So the Shangri-La just fit this one nice, but I do love flying this ship. This is one of my more favorite ones to fly now. Those pulse phasers are very, very awesome. My only problem I'm going to have with the ship is not being able to upgrade those pulse phasers. So I'll have to get them from the exchange, which is expensive, or lockbox, which also is expensive. So I don't know how I'm going to do that, but the goal is to get those pulse phasers that I can upgrade to do that. So that'll be like the future for this ship. That'll just be a very long ongoing process, but I do love the loaded for bear option. Very, very good console, very good ability. That one is pretty awesome. I end up using that a lot, so I like that one. But let's go to the next ship, shall we? The B. All right, it is now time to switch to the 1701B and give it a whirl. Now, as I did for the last ship, let's use the system that we have in place to hopefully correctly ready our starship and have our loadout set. That's the goal. Will it work? That's the question. So I'm going to go to Ship Manager. I'm going to go to the B, and I am going to go Ready Starship. And okay, so far so good. Now, you will notice I am using the Fleet Advanced Heavy Cruiser Tier 6. This is the Fleet Starbase ship that you get from the fleet, so it only has up to 5 traits. But wait, it actually has more, because I do have another version of this ship in order to get the trait. I have this one here, the Advanced Heavy Cruiser Tier 6. So this is the version, the Tier 6 version that has the mastery, the final mastery unlocked. I do believe this was a Z-Store ship, I want to say, although I actually forget now where I got this ship, but I know I got it from somewhere, and I think it's Z-Store, but wherever I got it, I have it. And it is the Advanced Heavy Cruiser. It's just called Advanced Heavy Cruiser Tier 6, and I think it might have been a Z-Store. I might have actually had a free coupon to get it. But it has the trait. So it has the improved weaponized emitters. So it's the full one. And so what I did is I leveled this ship up and then switched over to using the fleet version. And why did I do that? Because the fleet version does have a higher hull strength than the Zen Store version. The consoles, how are they different? It looks like 4, 2, and 5. 5, 2, and 3. Okay, so the fleet version does actually have one more tactical console. So I am gaining a console slot. I am gaining higher hull strength with the fleet version. And it lacks the trait, but because I have the other ship too, I just use the trait on this one. And I use the console from that ship as well on this one. So let's go over all of the specs on this one. So here we go. Fleet Advanced Heavy Cruiser, and as I stated, yeah, trade is not showing up there, but it does. Oh man, see, look at that. There goes my loadout going crazy again, forgetting my traits. All right, here is the trait with that other one that I have on this one. It's called Improved Weaponized Emitters. Your Aceton Beam and Overwhelm Emitter abilities now add radiation damage over time to the target. This affects other enemies within 3 kilometers of the target and causes damage every second for 15 seconds. So when I activate either the Aceton Beam or Overwhelming Emitter ability, I basically have this bubble of radiation damage that I do, which ignores shields, around the enemy. I do have that enabled, and we can do that. As you can see, it's already forgotten one of my traits, even though the loadout is set to here. It says unsaved, but of course I've saved it, so I don't know. We'll put that on there. It's probably going to mess up all my buttons. Hopefully all my weapons are here. Looks like they are. Now for this one, this being the B, really wasn't sure what phaser type would be best on it. A little iffy there on the phaser type and what I should use. So I decided to just go ahead and use the standard Starbase Elite Fleet phasers, which I'm also using on the C and the D, and probably the E. So it's going to get a little samey between these next series of ships on the weapon type, but that's just because that's what they use in the show. But I'm using the Elite Fleet Phaser Beam Arrays, a Phaser Dual Beam Bank Elite Fleet. This one has pin on it. And then the regular Elite Fleet Photon Torpedoes. And again, the rest of it's going to be kind of the same as the previous ship. I'm using the Lucari Colony deflector on this, which improves the hull capacity, shield capacity, impulse expertise, EPS, drain expertise, but more importantly for me, the critical severity and critical chance buff that it gives. And then the rest is the Elite Fleet Impulse Engines, Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp Core, Elite Fleet Adaptive Covariant Shield, and the regular Fleet Photon Torpedo as well. So that's kind of the build there. Again, you can advise me what you guys think would be the best phaser type to use on the B. I think it would be just the standard yellow phasers is what they used on it, but I could be wrong. Did we ever see it fire its weapons? That's my question. In the movie, I don't think so. So, in the movies, in Generations, I guess, we never saw it fire weapons, did we? So, I don't know. You guys tell me. Is that the best phaser type to be thematic to the show or not? That's what I have right now anyway. Otherwise, I have on it 2 consoles, actually. Now, let's see, which one came with this? I believe it was this one maybe that came on the ship. The Universal Tactical Maneuvering Matrix. Yes, it was this one. So this is the one that came on the Zen Store ship. So this is a plus turn speed damage and damage resistance higher when more enemies nearby. So it gives kinetic damage resistance, energy damage resistance, plus 17 flight speed, plus 17.5 flight turn rate. So that's its innate abilities by putting it on. You enable this, it has an ability called Pursuit Mode, where it gives you plus turn, flight speed, damage, resistance, and higher when more enemies are nearby. So more enemies nearby, the more you get on this. But you can get an all damage resistance rating, a bonus all damage, so that's great, a flight turn rate increase and flight speed increase based on how many enemies are around you. And your weapons inflict a negative speed turn and turn rate for your enemies for 4 seconds. Now, this is actually part of a set for the Advanced Heavy Cruiser ships, a set that is called Hot Pursuit. And if you get both of those consoles, you have a 2-piece bonus. Well, I have both of those consoles. So I can go to more details and we can see what the 2-piece bonus is. 2-piece bonus for owning all of these is plus 15% directed energy weapon damage and a 10% recharge time on all bridge officer abilities. So my directed energy weapon damage buffed. My recharge time on bridge officer abilities increased by having both consoles. This is the second console to that. It is called the Transwarp Computer. So this is, again, era-specific and thematic to the Excelsior, which is, of course, the experimental transwarp drive. This is a plus 28.5 Starship warp core efficiency. That's right, warp core efficiency improved. And a 50% cooldown reduction to all transwarp abilities. So in sector space, my transwarp is reduced, so I can do that more. But basically, while you're in battle or in space, you get that warp core efficiency boost with this console. And then I have the 2-piece hot pursuit boost by having both of these consoles on. So that was important for this ship, and its build was to be thematic. And just like I did for the 1701A with the M6 computer and the Corbomite maneuver, on this one I have the transwarp computer and then the console it came with to get that hot pursuit bonus. So that makes this ship then very thematic and era specific, and it's the fleet version, but I get the extra tactical console, and I do have the Starship trait applied. So that's a lot on this ship, but let's take it into space and give it a spin. Okay, I am in space now, and you can see the NCC 1701B or Excelsior or what do they call it? Advanced Heavy Cruiser, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. Another beautiful design. Honestly, iconic as well. Just a beautiful design. This one looks a little less balanced than the A does to me, only because the saucer is a little small while the nacelles are really long. It's a little more unbalanced, but still a striking, very noticeable visual to this ship. You'll notice it anywhere it goes. I love the inset deflector on it. I think is a really, really cool look. But that's how it looks. Look, it's forgotten. It keeps forgetting that I want this here. Where is it? My shield distribution. It keeps forgetting that I want that button there in my hotbar. Where is the button? There it is, distribute shield power. I like that there. So now if I go to loadout, I'm going to have to resave it again. Are my traits all there? Yeah, no. Well, they were not there for a second. You see that? Did you see that? For a second, I was scrolling and they had all disappeared. Now they popped in. I swear. I'm going to save these changes again, but I guarantee you it's going to forget them again. All right, so let's look at the stats and abilities on this ship. So in order to do the trait, the Starship trait, I need to use Aceton Beam or Overwhelm Emitters. I do have Overwhelm Emitters. That's the one I'm using, Overwhelm Emitters 1. And you can see what it does there. I'm going to use that ability, and you will see the radiation cloud around the enemies when I use it. For the pursuit mode, where are you, pursuit mode? Here you are. This is the pursuit mode. And you can see, again, what it does there, and I will use it in combat, but it's basically going to increase my resistance, my damage, my flight speed and turn rate. But the more enemies I have around me, the more of that it works. So, but that's basically it. Let's look at my stats on the ship. That is not stats. Let's look at stats. So on this one, I'm at 130,000 hull, so that's higher than the 1701, but not as high as my A because I need to upgrade it more. This one has a 16,000 on the shields. I'm in the mid 40s for the resistance. A little bit lower critical chance than the last ship and critical severity, but still pretty good. 29.5% crit chance, crit severity 154. My turn rate is 19.3, and my flight speed is 33. But again, I will upgrade all of these to everything to Mark 15 Epic in due time. I'm just not there yet. This one turns noticeably slower than the last two ships, noticeably slower, but it is still more maneuverable than the C. I can get around and maneuver it, but it is noticeably slower, definitely slower. Now, once I upgrade my engine to Mark 15 and Epic and all that, it should turn a little faster. It'll increase the turn rate and all that. So there's room for improvement here that I've yet to make. Naturally, I have the other consoles like I do in my other ships. The disentanglement suite for more shield capacity, critical chance, and critical severity. The extra phaser damage that I can get from this one. And we'll just look real quick at the critical chance and severity that this console is adding on this ship is plus 15% critical severity and plus 4% critical chance. That's adding with my hull strength that I have. So all of those little things just help tie in there. Let me make sure all of my weapons are on auto. Sometimes I don't have that set either, and they are. So let's go into combat and take a look at this one here. I'm going to go to patrols. We're going to go to Age of Discovery, 9th rule. Oh, I'm on cooldown. So you know what I'm going to do, guys? I am going to wait for that cooldown. I will go ahead and pause this video, and I will resume it when that cooldown is over so that I can demonstrate the abilities on this ship. All right, here I am in the Kinger
Looks like there was a
system.
fight.
So once again,
The
let's
cutter
see
is ready to assist you.
what this ship is capable of.
Lead the way.
Let me make sure all
God
my
will follow.
traits are there.
Reading a single Ferengi vessel. Marauder class. They've decloaked.
And we're ready to go.
Leave enough of their ships for salvage. I'll be under cloak.
Orions
All right,
and
I'm
Ferengi
going to do
working together?
overwhelm emitters,
Yeah,
and we'll see the
this
little
went well.
radiation cloud. There's the radiation cloud, so that's how that works. That one's really evident to notice.
Target's shields have failed.
Typical Ferengi, leaving the dirt.
So you can see how well that works.
Added to his bill.
Here is the pursuit mode.
Target's shields have failed.
A ton of damage. Just doing really well there. Yep, this one is quite nice with all of that.
Well, there's...
So that radiation cloud is extremely noticeable. And the pursuit mode I can notice as well, so those abilities work pretty well.
Cutting out the middleman here, Modron. Give us the spores.
You treacherous!
Warning. Ship
This
is
deal
under attack.
gets worse by the minute.
expected more pirate.
Target's shields have failed.
So very nice. Very nice. And the ship looks great doing all of this also. Really great.
The nerve. Oh, how about a baseball signed by the
Affirming.
Cajun Claws?
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Why are you defending that Ferengi worm?
Target
He's not
shield
worth
is
dying
failed.
for.
There goes the pursuit mode again.
More shields failing. Target's shields have failed.
There's the radiation again.
Target's shields have failed.
There you go. So that is the NCC 1701B. This one is real nice. Yeah,
Well fought.
I love the way it
Modrons on
looks while it's in battle. Honestly, very, very iconic. So that is a look at the NCC 1701B, the Advanced Heavy Cruiser. This is, again, the Fleet Tier 6 ship, but I do have the Z-Starship version also, which gives me the console, and then I also have the other console, and I forgot exactly where I got that from, but I know I got it from somewhere, and it's something to do related with the Excelsior, obviously. But the transwarp computer allows that combo set 2 bonus that you get, Hot Pursuit. You have the Hot Pursuit option here as well, or Pursuit mode. And then you have the trait with the Overwhelm emitters or Aceton beam, and you can see what that radiation does there. And so that's really nice. All of those things together is what this ship does uniquely and what it has capability-wise. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It doesn't have any unique weapons that come with it. It doesn't come with a unique photon torpedo or a unique phaser or anything like that. So it's just standard phasers. When I acquired these ships, it was just a standard phaser on this one. So I'm guessing that makes sense. But that's the build for this ship. Now let's go see what the sea has in store. All right, now it's time to take a look at the NCC 1701C, or the Ambassador class. And as usual, I'm going to go to the ship selector here. We're going to manage our ships. I'm going to select the sea. I'm going to hope this works. I'm going to ready Starship, and now I should be in the 1701C Fleet Support Cruiser Tier 6. So this is the Ambassador, but also this is the Fleet version of the ship from the Fleet stores. And there is a Z store. I believe it's a Z store. I could be wrong. I forgot exactly where I got the ship from, but I know I got it from somewhere. I had the Support Cruiser Tier 6 as well. And this has the mastery attached to it, History Will Remember. So I did have the Support Cruiser Tier 6 version, and that has the console and the trait. So I leveled all of those up, as I do, and I put the Fleet version on instead. I'm using that because it has a higher hull strength, but I'm using the trait from that ship. It's basically the same, just with the trait, and then I put the console on here as well. What other differences? Let's see, we've got 4, 3, and 3, and if we go to this one here, we have 4, 4, and 3, so we do have an extra science console slot. So 1 extra science console slot on this one. So there's our benefit for the Fleet version, extra science console slot, higher hull strength, but we do lack the trait, but then we do have the trait because I had the other ship. So that's how all of that worked. So let's look at the specs on this one. So if we look at the Fleet Support Cruiser, let's first look at the trait, which again, it keeps forgetting one of my traits every time I do this, even though I have already saved this previously. It does forget 1 or 2 of my traits, and I have to keep redoing it every single time, which kind of defeats the purpose of loadouts, let me tell you. All right, so if we look at the trait, it's called History Will Remember, and it's somewhere here. One of these here. Where are you, History Will Remember? Okay, I apparently have not enabled it yet on this ship, so I need to do that. This is one of the latest ships that I'm using on this character, and one of the more recent ones that I put on here, and so it has the least amount of work I've put into it so far, and also the most beta of builds, because I have just run out of resources. So that's why this one isn't ready yet. Let's just for right now, let's just take that off, and we'll put on History Will Remember, since that's the trait, and we will take a look at it. I haven't had a lot of time to really look at this ship. It's also possible I might have already put that trait on here, and then the trait system or the loadout system forgot it and replaced it with the old one. That's possible too. Prolonged conflicts become more desperate and more heroic as time wears on, and only those ships and crews with the fortitude to withstand such onslaughts are remembered in the annals of history. With this trait slotted, each foe that damages you will grant you a stack of History Will Remember, which imparts increased weapon damage, hull capacity and hull regeneration. So weapon damage, hull capacity, and weapon and hull regeneration. Each foe only counts for a single stack. No matter how many times they damage you, each stack will last until they leave the map, and you may have up to 30 stacks maximum. So you basically gain a damage and a hull regen 1% per foes up to 30, plus 10% threat generation only while a threatening stance is active, and I don't use that, so that doesn't apply. So that's that basically. The more foes we have, they will stack up to 30 times, and we get that increased damage and regen. So hopefully we'll see that in action, and that will happen magically on its own. So that trait is now enabled for my Fleet Support Cruiser Tier 6 trait. Otherwise, what I have going on here is the unique console. This came with the Tier 6 version of this ship, and that is the Universal Temporal Trajectory Shifter. So having this console on gives you a plus 10 defense rating, a plus 50 Starship Scientific Readiness, and then an activatable ability called Borrowed Time. It steals weapon haste, defense, and cooldowns. So to foe, physical damage, weapon firing speed slowed for them, ability cooldown slowed, and their defense rating lessened. To self, a weapon firing speed haste increased by 50%, cooldowns hasted by 20%, and a defense rating. So basically I'm taking from them and applying to myself these abilities. So basically I'm going to gain firing weapon haste and cooldown improvement and defense. So that's what I gain with that. Now for this ship, thematically, I have to use the standard yellow phasers. That is what the Enterprise C fired. That is what it uses. So that means I am pulling from the Fleet Star Base to get these fleet weapons. So the Elite Fleet Phaser Beam Arrays and Elite Fleet Dual Beam Bank, standard Fleet Photon Torpedoes here, nothing real special there. And again, the same build out as I've had on all the previous ships. I'm using the Lucari Colony deflector, and that is basically to get increased critical severity and critical chance, but it also improves my hull capacity, shield capacity, impulse, expertise, and EPS. And then I have the Elite Fleet Adaptive Covariant Shield, the Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp Core, and the Elite Fleet Efficient Impulse Engine. All the same there as other ships. I might want to change this one out. Right now I have speed ×2 and turn. I might change that to a turn ×2 one. This ship does turn real slow, and that kind of really bugs me compared to the previous ships. So I don't know, I may change that or do something to improve the turn rate. But something I can also do is just put on more engineering consoles to improve turn rate or something there as well, because I've got a lot of space here that's unfilled at the moment, because again, this is a very, very early beta build of this ship build, so who knows what it'll end up being. But I do have the quantum phase converter on, which gives me extra phaser damage on top of it, because I only have 3 tactical console slots here, so I need to do something to really increase the phaser damage more on this ship. The disentanglement suite as well for critical chance and severity. For stations, again, extremely beta build, so don't take any of this. This is all not finalized. I have destabilizing resonance beam. I found that kind of fun. I've got the focused assault, all the standard stuff here that I might want to use just to get this ship going, and I do have the mastery all maxed out on this as well. So let's go into space and take a look at it and see what we got. Okay, I am in space now with the Ambassador, and we can kind of see what it looks like. This is the fleet version, and I think it looks slick. Definitely a precursor to the Galaxy. You can tell it's just the Galaxy is this scaled up. I mean, that's pretty much it, right? This scaled up. And this is beautiful, though. Just nice classic design, a simple ship design, but you can see the progression in ship design between the A, the B, the C. It's all there. So I like the way it looks. Very modern, very clean. But yeah, that's pretty much what we expect there. Very iconic look on the ship. So let's take a look at its stats and abilities. So stats-wise, I'm at 131,000 hull, which is not much more than the last ship I was at. So pretty much the same hull strength there. And once I upgrade all of this more, then that will increase, and I can do other things to improve that as well. So right now my hull strength is, not as high as some of the other ships, and I think this one should be higher considering it's a newer ship. You know, down the line it should have a higher hull strength, so I'll have to work on that. My shield strength is not great either at 15,000, but again, I need to upgrade everything. My resist are not too bad in the lower 40s, but that could be improved. My crit chance and crit severity ain't bad. 32.5% crit chance, 154.1 crit severity. Turn rate is slow, 15.3 degrees a second. Flight speed is 29.92. So it's that turn rate that kind of kills me on this ship. From this deflector, I'm getting plus 15 critical severity and plus 4 critical chance. So that's kind of where I stand on where the stats are on this ship, but all of that will be improved over time as I, work on it. Again, I just threw all this on so that I could demonstrate the ship to you today. Part 1 of a series. There will be lots more to come. But here's the turn rate on that as I'm about to fly off the map. The turn rate, real slow, and this is what kills me. So I think I'll probably change that engine out for one that turns a little faster, and maybe even get another turn rate increase buff on the engineering console over that. Maybe not flight speed, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Definitely want to increase that a little because that's pretty slow. That's bad. I don't think I'm using pilot, so I don't have the pilot specialty enabled, which would give me more turn rate, but I'm not using that one right now. So let me make sure all my traits are in place. Yes, they are. So again, history will remember. This one, I guess it'll automatically enable as I damage the enemy. So I won't even have to do anything to make this trait work. It'll just automatically happen as I damage enemies. So that's nice. But this one here for the console borrowed time, I do have to enable that. And I don't know if I need to be in proximity or if I need to target them first or what. So we'll see, because I haven't really tested this out a lot yet. So I'm not really sure how all that works. I will be figuring that out with you all. So that's all ready to go. Let's do our standard patrol. Let's go. Okay, here we
Looks
are.
like there was
the
a
ninth
fight.
rule, Kinder system.
The Carter is ready to assist
Let's
you.
go take a look at this thing in action.
Lead the way. And the Shirkat
So
will
I'm
follow.
gonna let the trait work first on
Reading
this
a
first
single
group.
Ferengi vessel, Marauder class.
I'm not gonna
They've
use
decloaked.
my console
I
yet.
thought I'd leave enough of their ships
I'm gonna
for
do the
salvage.
trait first,
I'll
which
be under
means
cloak.
I basically just need to damage the
Orions and
enemies.
Ferengi working together?
Ship is
Yeah,
under attack.
this will end well.
Target's shield has failed.
So I guess the trait is now inactive. Yeah, it's now active. I can see it doing stuff. So that's the trait basically working.
Typical Ferengi, leaving the dirty work for us. Added to his bill.
Okay, on this next group here, let's use my console.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Oh, I see it. Kind of like
Target's shield has
it's
failed.
taking it from that ship and then adding it to mine. That's how that works.
4 shields failing.
Okay, well that works pretty well. So that ability basically steals from a single
there's
foe.
good news, bad
Not
news. The
all
Ferengi
the foes, but the trait works on all the foes. So yeah, the trait had a graphic visual. I saw that active when I was doing damage to them, and I guess I'm just going to be getting all those benefits automatically.
Ah,
Unless you want to be our next hunt, you'll beam over those spores.
you treacherous!
Warning.
This deal gets burst by the minute.
Does anyone ever want to be hunted by Hirogen? I'm
Yeah, I
curious.
kind of see the hole doing a thing.
Target's
Okay,
shield
cool.
has failed.
Trait's working.
Shield failing. Four shields failing.
Yeah, that turn rate kills me, but it makes sense, this being a cruiser.
Right shield failing. Target's shield has failed.
So I wonder where the counter is for... Okay, history remember. So my counter is at 18, so it's currently active, and it keeps... That's right, it keeps the counter going until you exit the map. So as long as I'm doing this, that counter remains. History will remember 18, so that remains up there.
Episode of Captain Proton. It's yours.
So I'm getting those buffs, basically. I guess 18% right now. But I'm not at the max.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Try to make this interesting, Trey. Prove you're worth a hunt.
Target's shield has failed. Left shield failing. Rear shield failing. Right shield failing. Four shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
Hate all these tractor beams on me.
Shield failing. Target's shield has failed. Four shields failing.
They keep disabling my abilities. The Herodian.
Target's shield.
Very annoying.
Rear shields failing. Target's shield has failed.
They're down to a few ships. Keep up the pressure.
Right shield's failing.
They keep disabling my abilities.
Target's shield
And
has
I'm
failed.
stuck and can't move.
Right shield's failing.
There's the capital ship. Let's do a steal on it.
Target's shield has failed.
Alright, we made it. Yeah, this ship I need to do a little bit more work on. It's a work in progress for sure. But
Well fought.
all the bones are there for that one. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for part 1 of this series. There will be multiple parts to come as I improve the ships and their builds and learn how they work and all the abilities, as well as obtain the other ships and continue down the line equipping them as well. I don't know how many parts this series will end up having, just as many as I feel like doing or having fun with. This entire series is just for fun. I thought it would be a very fun idea to have every iconic ship on a character. And starting with the classic, iconic NCC 1701 Enterprises would be a great thing to start with, a great way to start with. And so Ensign Ricky here is going to have each of those ships, and I will build them out best I can. Resources are the biggest problem, as I do run out of resources very quickly. It takes a lot of dilithium to do all these things and upgrades or get all the ships that I want. Looking forward at the ships that I want. The Odyssey is definitely on my list, and there is a ship bundle pack that includes the Odyssey. It's like a ship pack. I forgot what it's called. Here it is, called Odyssey Bundle. So it's 6,000 Zen. This is the one I want for the Odyssey, for the Enterprise F, because that way I will be able to get all 3 classes of the ship, Yorktown, Endeavor, and Sojourner, and that is so that I can get all the consoles. I want the complete console set that ship comes with. The complete console set. So that is something I need to acquire and get so that I can have that kind of theme set up for the Odyssey. Now for the Galaxy Quest, that is wow, that's where my mind went. Not Galaxy Quest. Oh, that's funny though. That's funny that I had that little slip in there, isn't it? Or the Galaxy Cruiser is what I meant to say. I already have the complete set for that one. I have the saucer separation and the antimatter spread and all the things that come with that set. I think it's a 3-piece set. I have all of those pieces already for the Galaxy. So that's pretty awesome, and I look forward to equipping that ship and, you know, getting that all figured out. For the assault cruiser, the Enterprise E, I have also the Zen store ship on that, I think, and the fleet version, so I think I have that one kind of well figured out as well. So that's going to be interesting to look at. The hard ones will be the G and the J. Those will be the hard ones to get. So I'm not sure that I will have those at any point soon at all in the future. Probably not. So I think the main thing for me right now is just to get through the F and get them all equipped best as I can and get them all upgraded as best as I can. But again, resources are tight because upgrading your gear costs dilithium and tech upgrades and all of these things. So it's a very hard and lengthy process to do, and it's just going to be a long time for me to do that. But I thought I'd start right here with this part 1 video and show you where I have gotten to at this point. Spent a lot of time on it and where I'm planning on going and what you can expect in the future. And as I make significant updates to these ship builds and so forth, I will continue to make more parts to this series. But that's going to be pretty much it. I do want to mention that I have complained quite a bit in this video about the loadout system. I do apologize for harping on that so much. I realize that now after this recording that I have done that quite a bit in today's video, but it does need to be said because the loadout system is crap. It is complete crap and completely broken at the moment, and I do want them to fix it because it could be a it could be really awesome. It could be a great thing and would really allow me to do what I'm wanting to do here. The problem is it doesn't always work very well. The traits also disappear. It doesn't remember buttons. It says I have unsaved changes even when I've already saved the changes. And yeah, it's just broken and it's very annoying. I want to put that out there because I do want to see them fix it at some point and make it so that traits don't disappear. And what is the worst when this happens is when your character beams into space, typically above Earth space dock in the Sol system, as your character and not as your ship. And if you've encountered this problem, you know what I'm talking about. You will beam into your character in space, your ground character, rather than your ship. And when it does that, when it has that bug, you lose all your traits. Your traits are screwed up. And then you go back to ground and then back to space again, and your ship is finally correct. All your traits are screwed up. This happens to me a lot. I have encountered this bug. I can't get around it. Happens with multiple characters I have, and I cannot fix it, no matter what I do. So you that suffer from this, I feel your pain because I share it, and it makes this game a lot less fun because of it. I'm putting all that out there in hopes that somebody will read this, somebody will watch this, somebody will fix this bug, because they really need to get on this disappearing traits, beaming into space as your character, and the loadout system, and they need to make that robust. It needs to work. That's all I'm going to say. All right, I will stop harping on that now. That's my rant for the video. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you want to continue to see this series of videos in this game or any of my other Let's Plays of many other games, I have full game Let's Plays on this channel of many games and many new games coming up that I will be playing Totally not Star Trek related, totally just, PC games in general. And I do a lot of that, and I'm going to have a lot of those videos. Subscribe to my channel, please. Subscribe if you want to see that, and give the video a like. And let me know in the comments below what you think, any suggestions you might have for these builds or for anything in this series. So thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.